Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We have Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi here with us today. I'm going to just jump into the first question. So you're the first member of Congress that begins with us and this nonprofit has as a podcast guest, and we're honored that you could spend some time with our listeners. Perhaps to provide some context and background, could you please share the origins of your journey here as a proud Indian American, as a native of Illinois, and someone who clearly aspired for a career in public service?
Well, thank you, Maina. Thank you for doing this. And what is my origin story? I was born in India and I came to this country when I was 3 months old. And my father was studying engineering at University of Buffalo. And things were going great until suddenly he lost his income in the recession of 1973, which was a really tough time in our lives. But thankfully, thanks to the generosity of the American people, we were allowed to move into public housing and food stamps. So I spent about half of my early childhood in those two life-sustaining programs. And then eventually my father got on his feet and got a great job in Peoria, Illinois. And so that's where we entered the middle class. And pretty much every night at the dinner table, my father said, think of the greatness of this country. And whatever you do, make sure it's there for the next families who need it. So that became kind of the North Star of my personal compass. Fast forward through college and law school and stints in the public sector and private sector. I'm here now in the US Congress, 5 terms later, pursuing that mission statement. So that's become, that's kind of my why. That's really, I feel, why I'm here.
I'd love to focus a little bit more on the mission statement and the issues which matter most to you. Of course, Congress doesn't get to pick and choose which issues the nation faces, but you have a choice in which issues to emphasize, specialize in, and use your platform to focus on. Right now, it seems that the eyes are on President Trump's big, beautiful bill. Your portfolio includes domestic, national security, and foreign affairs issues. Could you please share how your portfolio evolved to what it is today?
Partly it's because of the committee assignments that I was given when I first entered Congress, and then part of it is what I have chosen to kind of focus on within the jurisdiction of those committees as well. So when I first entered Congress, I was privileged to sit on the Oversight Committee, which has the broadest jurisdiction of any committee in Congress. And there I later became chair of a subcommittee that had oversight with regard to children's health issues, really all health issues, but children's health issues in particular. So there I went after the e-cigarette companies who prey on our kids and try to hook them on vapes. I also went off after food companies that taint baby food with toxic heavy metals. I went after Purdue Pharmaceutical, which has addicted a generation of people to OxyContin and opioids. And so that has become a big focus of my work in Congress. And then another issue which I've taken on is America's competitiveness. And that's because of my position as ranking member of the Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party. And this particular committee has allowed me an opportunity to focus on how do we make America more competitive? How do we make it a place where we can build the most innovative businesses, where people are equipped with the skills to work in high technology, and where we continue to attract the best talent from around the world, just like your family or others who immigrated to this country.
The last thing I want to ask you is about a little bit about the Senate campaign and then the question specifically for young people in our listening audience. There's been so much debate and even litigation about student loan forgiveness, about access to affordable quality education, and how my generation comes out of the COVID pandemic on solid footing. From your perspective, where do we stand on these issues affecting young people? And are there also other issues which we should keep in mind going into this election?
Great question. With regard to young people, I think right now, I think the cost of college is it's unaffordable. For the average middle class family, I think they really are trying to figure out, how do I educate my child and how do I make sure that they get ahead? And unfortunately, when the cost of college is tens and tens of thousands of dollars per year, the average family is really struggling to afford that. And so what we need to do is at least two things. One, we have to do whatever it takes to both reduce the cost of college and also give people additional aid to afford college. Right now, the House Reconciliation Bill, which the Republicans passed, actually lowers the maximum amount of Pell Grant aid, which means that the lowest income people in the United States are no longer going to be able to receive, the full amount of Pell aid they receive today, and it puts college even further out of reach for them, and that's wrong. So we got to fight that. The last thing I'll say is 60% of Americans don't have a four-year college degree, and a large number of Americans are going to continue to choose options other than four-year college. We have to make sure that that non-four-year college track is excellent, that it provides them with a world-class post-secondary education so they can climb into the middle class the same way that others have. So regardless of what your path is, whether it's going to a four-year college and university or going to a community college, trade school, or some other path, we want you to be able to, make it into the middle class. I think that has to be the ultimate aim, and we need everyone to be able to have a job. That is perhaps the one thing that every parent wishes for their child, that they have a job that enables them to grow, that they're independent, they make it into the middle class, and that they're better off than their parents are.
Congressman, the final thing I'd love to fit in is just some advice that you would have for our listeners regarding their education, where they spend their time, and how they can get involved on the issues that they're most passionate.
It's a great question. I would not spend time on video games. That piece of advice falls on deaf ears in my own house. So that's a hard one. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, look, I think in all seriousness, I think that young people right now are in some ways more challenged than ever because of multiple issues. One is our global economy is changing rapidly. Technology is evolving rapidly. And so they, even more than their parents, are probably going to have to learn how to self-learn and embark on a kind of lifelong path of continuous education in a way that maybe their parents and grandparents did not. Okay. So that means it's like, learning how to learn, and finding habits and finding strategies that work for you. So that's the challenge. Okay. The opportunity is there's so much technology out there now that you could envision someday where you end up with your personalized teaching assistant in the form of some kind of artificial intelligence that revolutionizes the way that we teach people and they learn. And it could be with you the rest of your life. It could help you in forming your own personalized kind of path, right? So what I would say overall is whatever you can do, take advantage of those educational resources that are available to you right now, but keep an eye on, okay, how do I incorporate technology into what I'm doing and in the learning process itself, so that it doesn't become kind of like a boring kind of rote exercise where you're just reading a textbook and you fall asleep and then you don't remember anything that you read, you don't remember anything that you took the test on, but you have something that stays with you. You want it to stay with you and allow you to keep growing.
Congressman, thank you so much.
Thank you,
for your time. I
Maynard.
really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
same here. Thank you so much.